All right, I am back once again with the magnificent Taoist wizard Patrick Giguere. And we are going to go deeper into the subject we talked about last time, having to do with the idea of possession, demonic possession. And again, just to get us back on track here. So I was really excited to find out that the origins of Taoism was not um, was not Lao Tzu writing these poetic things about staying still and being emptiness. That came much later, and real Taoist wizards don't lean on that like, philosophical Taoists do. And their original, the first Taoists were shamans who were just practically trying to gain power to overcome negative entities that they experienced from their experience were trying to feed off of human beings. And so that's where TCM comes from. That's where Qigong comes from and Taoist meditation. They have such an incredible power over healing and health in the body, as well as spiritual connection and energetic connection, because they had a practical reality focus on how to gain power to be as healthy as possible. So, with that, tell us where we're going to go today. What are you going to
Yeah,
share?
so we're gonna talk more about this concept of possession and ghosts, demons, these by and large these self-generated entities that get into our mind-body complex and start they want to muscle the real you, the real me out of basically the throne of this mind body spirit complex, and they want to start taking it for a ride and basically exhausting your vitality while they do it. So they're basically fraudsters that want to get in and spend your bank account, your vitality account.
They're little tiny narcissists.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's just really limited scope of vision and perspective and no sense of themselves.
And
You
just
know, so
feed off of other people and their emotions and their guilt and shame and yeah.
yeah, yeah, you brought up that great term last time, the introject. And through the dynamics of the introject, we create these narcissistic entities. So we have some sort of a trauma, and the self in that traumatic situation gets basically isolated in time, is the way I like to look at it. And so it becomes like our little roommate.
Yeah. Our little narcissistic roommate that doesn't pay rent.
Yeah, and it can't see beyond that one moment where shit seemed to have gone completely wrong. And yeah, so they don't want to pay rent. They want to eat all the food. They want to make you shop and work for it. And
All right, and in case I didn't say it, Patrick is a traditional Chinese medicine practitioner. So, um, yeah, that's what we're going to look at. And all right, continue. What else? What do we got?
yeah. So yeah, one of the things I want to get into tonight is the four stages of the four levels. So an interesting thing, just a little background, 30 seconds. Chinese medicine, you have two broad categories of disease in general. You've got cold borne and heat borne. So things that set in the winter, things that set in the summer. So basically, pathogens, they first get past the exterior. So the Wei Qi, the defensive Qi, the energy of the immune system, the skin. They get past the exterior and they start going deeper. So these psychic infestations or invasions or whatnot, whatever we want to call these, they work in a four-stage paradigm.
So before we go any further, so I just want to clarify. So the Wei Qi, the external, your aura, that protects you from physical pathogens, but it also protects you from spiritual pathogens, curses, other people's negative feelings, other people's narcissistic attachment to you, their judgment of you. Uh,
Yeah,
so your Wei Qi is the first barrier that all that stuff has to get through.
absolutely,
Okay,
absolutely. And being, Taoism being as beautiful as it is, they say, well, what's the difference between spiritual and physical?
exactly. Yeah. One might even say, if we look at it, we'll find that all bacteria and viruses are spiritual in nature.
Yeah. Well, what's fascinating? Curses are something I want to get to, but I don't want to sidetrack us right now because I think it's very important in the modern world, this concept of cursing.
Yeah.
We're surrounded by it. Um, oh shit, I'm losing my train of thought. Oh yeah, yeah. So some really good astrologers back in, 2020 and even before, they were saying there's a plague coming.
Hmm.
But they were saying there's like a digital component to this thing, and it's really like it's going to be like jumping out of the digital technology and into people.
Wow.
And I'm reading this book right now called Bringers of the Dawn, and it was a channeling, um, Pleiadian channeling from the early '90s, and it I don't know if you've read this, but if you haven't, it mirrors everything you've been saying since 2022
Wow.
perfectly.
What's it called?
Bringers of the Dawn. I'll send you the
Wingers of
link.
the Dawn. Okay. I look forward to reading it.
And so I'm in a chapter right now, and she's talking about that. She's saying in the near future, diseases will be suggested by mass media, and people will catch them by mere suggestion
Wow.
because because the technology is screwing with your mental physical frequency so much.
And it also seems to indicate that people will be so suggestible to anything that media or technology tells them that literally they'll be so hypnotized that if media says, "Oh, you have a cold," you- how did they know?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. All right,
Yeah.
keep going.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting that the big flu hit the middle class the worst.
Well, and you hear we've been hearing it from all those in the NIH before Kennedy got there, and Bill Gates and others are going online. They did it before the big lockdown, and they've been doing it since, where they've been saying, and there's another sickness coming, there's another plague coming. They're telling you and then they'll come and tell you what diseases are coming, RSV. I mean, when I watch my smart TV and I'm just watching YouTube and it throws ads up now on the smart TV, it already knows my age and everything. So it starts telling me, if you're over the age of 55, here are the three viruses that you can't protect yourself from. Come and get these inoculations. And I'm like, are you telling me that 10 years ago, 20 years ago, people over 50 didn't have the immune system to get over that, but now all of a sudden 50-year-olds don't have an immune system?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. It's like how they keep lowering the blood pressure number so they can have more
Yeah.
people with
But what's interesting is they tell you what the exact disease is that you're going to get. So look out
yeah.
for it. Look out for it. It's going to happen. All right.
Oh,
Keep going.
it's crazy. Um, yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, let's get into cursing if we get time at the end. Okay. So we've got 13 ghost points. So and as a refresher, these ghost points, they break down into four protocols because there are four stages to these possessions. Starts at the exterior and it works its way in. And basically, the way I read this is that it wants to work its way to basically your central channel, your Chong Mai. So that channel between the fontanelle and then the perineum in the center of your pelvis. So it basically wants control of, the consciousness, the yi, the e, um, the organ spirits, all that stuff.
And the central aspect of you,
Your
your
essence.
identity. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it wants to eat your essence. Now, one of the really cool things about this is that as we get through these layers, we get to like layers 2 and 3, your desires and your passions become the remedy for this crap.
Okay. Which is my book, the Shamanic Secret Commandment to a Perfect Life, is all about you know, however long ago it was, 10 or 15 years ago. I said, here's the key. Find out what your soul wants and go do it. And that is the answer to everything. So that's what you're saying, TCM is saying.
Yeah. So I'm like, I'm happy for you that you're you're justifiably gratified from, what the canon, well, not so much the canon, but what the fringe element canon of this medicine says.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I got some notes here. I'm writing like a crazy person. All right. So the 13 ghost points, four treatments. So you've got four trinities, and then you've got like the floating extra point. So we get into this first trinity. So you get to the first level. This is where the ghost just gets into the exterior. So you can think of this as like when you're first catching the cold. It's like, you're like, man, I shouldn't be this cold in this room right now. But you can get in the hot shower or eat and drink some ginger and it's just like it leaves you.
Hmm.
So when you're in that situation, the diaphragm is a big key to this because those situations where you've had some kind of emotional upset, you've been crying and then like you're calming down from it. And all of a sudden you feel a diaphragm spasm and you go, and then your breathing just, you get your full like lung volume back. That's basically the incident, the trauma like leaving you.
Hmm.
So, one of the big points in the treatment in this first stage, it's the lung 11, it's like right at the corner of your thumbnail here. So that's the end of the channel where things can just sort of leave. So the breathing system is very involved in this one, and then the lungs, getting back to the weight chi like we were talking about. So this defensive bubble, this immune energy, the lung energy is like the skin of the bubble, and then the liver gives it the pressure to inflate it. So it's very appropriate with this stage with the breathing and the diaphragm involved that this lung point can basically open the exterior and float it out. Um, and really interesting too, and another interesting point with this stage is it's the right in the little groove above your lip here, under the septum of your nose. That's a resuscitation point. Like if somebody faints or something, you can press this point right here.
Hmm.
Um, that so Chinese medicine has reflexology systems all over the body. You've got hands, feet, abdomen, and you've got the face too. So this is a reflex point for the diaphragm, and also interestingly, the uterus. So you've got the uterus as like the female reproductive organ, but then you've got the energetic uterus that we were talking about a few conversations ago, where It's the Gununga gap that everyone has. It's the space between the kidneys where the energy's arcing back and forth. And so my read on this is when you stimulate that energetic uterus, it basically like raises the internal energy pressure and it's like throws it out. So pretty neat. And that energy, accessed from there, that's your kidney yang. So the kidney yang is really like the animating force in the body.
Hmm.
And so things like, drugs, alcohol, too much sex, you know what I mean? All that stuff burns kidney yang. It's like money. You want to have fun with it, but you want to let it replenish before you have too much fun.
Got it. Okay.
So yeah, so the breathing is, of utmost importance here. Let me just check my notes. So yeah, and an interesting thing with this first stage, it's like this is where like psychological dysfunction first starts to happen. So you have the trauma, and then what the wisdom of the medicine says is that this is where the ghost, the demon, this internally generated, thought form, this emotional entity, this is where it's going to start whispering to you and trying to get your trust.
So it's gone past the Wei Chi and it's now
Just inside it.
okay. So now it's just inside your aura, and then it
Yeah.
starts whispering at you. Okay, got it.
Yeah. And so what they say here, since it's the initial stage of psychological dysfunction, um, this is where we start seeing the world a little differently. And that can be a temporary thing. You have a fight with someone or you have some emotional upset. And you're in a pissed off mood, you're in a grievous mood, you're sad, you're whatever. And you go through the process and you have that diaphragm spasm and your breathing goes back to normal. It may be maybe like an hour, 2 hours a day. They say if you don't get it out within 2 days, it's going to start going deeper. But so we have this wired into us. If we do have a trauma, you work it out in a day or two and you're all set. The ghost is auto exercised, you might say.
It's interesting that you say 48 hours. When I'm working with somebody and teaching them how to get rid of resentments and how important that is, and the difference between being, getting angry, which is an understandable self-defense mechanism. Somebody cuts you off and you motherfucker, and then after about 30 seconds, you're like, okay, all right, I didn't die. I'm fine. Okay, whatever. I'm good. You forget it. It's gone. It's just this flash of anger that dissipates. But when I say if you're still angry, 48 hours later, you have a resentment and you need to
Oh
get
wow.
rid of it. So that's interesting that you say that. After about 48 hours, then this self-created trauma demon will then, after it's been talking to you, will go in a little bit deeper into your energy field.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it makes me wonder too about the whole thing with like like with like police detectives where they say, if you have some kind of a crime, you've got to catch it in the first 48 hours.
Interesting.
It's almost like it's like on a community level, it's trauma that has to be the immune system, of the detectives has to go to work and
Yeah,
get it while it's fresh.
got it.
That's
Okay.
pretty neat.
Yeah.
So let's get into the second stage. If you want to go back to anything,
No, I'm
awesome.
good. Let's keep going.
Um, oh yeah, and another thing too is like these little sidebar, these acupuncture points, they all have very specific and very symbolic names. And the ones involved with this have alternate names that deal with the word ghost. So it's pretty neat. So yeah, so second trinity, so second layer. So this is where the ghosts start depleting the yin in the body. So the substance, the fluid component in the body and in the energy body. This is like the fuel that our system runs on. Um, so you get to the second layer, 48 hours and onward. And something can sit in this layer for a very long time. Um, so this second layer. This is where basically the ghost starts like depleting the yin. Because what's going to happen here is heat is going to be created in the energy system. Because there's now this emotional mental program running. So we're running this extra program that we don't need to be. So basically, the fan in the computer is having to come on.
Okay. Yeah. So our obsession over whatever
Obsessed. Thank
this
you.
is,
Exactly.
it's got it.
So now we're really getting the fire element involved here because what's happened here, this is now like a constitutional issue. Like this is now part of the body is learning how to balance this this new imbalance. It's learning how to live with the imbalance. Um, and basically it's like we are we're starting to move through life like the ghost, like the demon, like this entity that we've created. Um, it's starting to pull us off of like who we really are, what we're really into, what we really want to do. So this is, I think, you grow up in the household where there's, oh, let me give you an example from my own life. It's like you've got a parent telling you, if you don't go to college when you're 18, you're going to be a heroin addict and an alcoholic. You know,
Oh, that's why that happens. Oh,
yeah,
oh, now I know.
of course. I wouldn't have any problems if I just went straight to college
Yeah,
and
there
stayed there.
you go.
So yeah, so you have one of these, you have this strain, and you start you and you've what? You've downloaded an introject in that situation because you're too young to say to yourself, you know what, my parents are full of shit. Blah blah,
Yeah, because they're your survival mechanism. So you
yeah,
have to adopt what they say or you don't survive,
totally,
at least in your mind.
absolutely. So yeah, so that is a good bridge to go to this second stage. So basically, at this stage, we're off of we're getting away from our essence. So when we get away from the essence, the ghost or the demon starts eating our true essence.
So that's important. So we stop there for a second. So the whole point of this ghost, this demon, is to get you to disidentify, disconnect with your authentic self.
Exactly.
And externally, we take your example, the experiences. Okay, mom and dad aren't going to love me, which means I don't exist. Obviously on the surface that doesn't make sense, but psychologically that's the reality we experience. So
Yeah.
mom and dad are yelling at me, which means I don't exist unless I do what they say. And so I have to go to college at 18 or I'm going to become an alcoholic. And then there's a party that says, forget that. I'm not going to go to college. So you start drinking at them so you can do what you want. Man, I'm going to do what I want. Next thing you know, you're doing exactly what they said. The little introject got in there. And so if you
Yeah.
get stuck with your authentic self, which is extremely hard to do at that age, you would have said, no, my value comes from living what gives me joy. And if I want to go to college, I will. And if I don't, I won't.
Yeah.
Mom and dad. So that would keep your Wei Chi and it would keep this secondary level clear. But what all of us tend to do is we listen to whatever we're told and we we either fight with that, which means they're winning, or we, out of shame, become that.
Yeah. And I've known some younger people who it's like they just go, you know what, I'm gonna do it my way. And they do it and they end up pretty happy and they bypass
Yeah,
this whole thing. But there's usually the family, like the extended family isn't like so much of a monolith that's like
yeah,
echoing
yeah,
the parents. Like you've got some people in the family going, they're not trying to persuade the kid. They just go, well, you got other options. You know that, right?
yeah. As opposed to, like, I would imagine if you're a Rothschild, you're the entire, hundreds of aunts and uncles are going to be on you. Yeah, you're going to run the bank. You're going to be a banker.
Yeah.
And that's all there is to it.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. So yeah, so at this stage, it's like you can say that like your life's progress is getting hampered. There's some sort of like an arrested development going on here.
Okay.
Where
And we're at stage two now or stage three?
stage two.
So stage two, only at stage two, we've walked away from our authentic self. Stage one, it's begun to bother us.
Yes.
And we're negotiating with it, which gives its power. Stage two, we're now walking away from our authentic self. Okay.
Yeah. And we're starting to relate to the
Our
ghost.
identity comes from the introject, what we were told.
Yeah.
Got it.
We're starting to relate to it and we're getting off course.
And the demon is now,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah, it's like it's eating our snacks at this point.
got it. Okay.
It's getting the leftovers, it's getting the stuff out of the cabinets, it's like not too
Ah, all right. Let's keep going.
So the points that deal with this, you've got one right on the heart protector channel, right at the top wrist crease.
I just felt that. I just felt that right here.
Oh, it's so reactive. And we use
So
it so much in the forms.
that's what I was going to say. So doing these spirit fighting forms, the Maoshan spirit fighting forms are spirit fighting, and they will stimulate your ability to fight off the demons that are trying to take you out of your authentic self.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah. So that is the let me see now. That is the earth point on a fire channel. So this is basically like you can use this point to rediscover your earthly passions,
Wow.
earthly desires. It's just like you say, your desires are your salvation.
And that literally is the point in the Earth set. We actually strike it. We're stimulating that point.
Pretty amazing.
Wow.
Yeah,
So those of you out there watching and you're still on wood or metal and you're taking your time, get your ass to the earth element so you can heal that point. All right, good.
absolutely. Absolutely. Another big one below the outside ankle bone. This is one we were talking about when we were talking about the psychic channels and all that.
Yeah.
It opens up the Niflheim world. Um, this is it's on a water point. So this deals with emotion, and it deals with how we stand up to the world, how we move through the world.
Huh.
So this is a remedy to get us to stop walking like the ghost, to stop walking through life like the ghost. Change your gait,
Take,
literally and figuratively.
literally take action, walk towards your authentic
Absolutely.
self desire. Got it. Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, and a big thing at this level too is it's like the body is like the starting point. You gotta make the healthy body and you'll push it back out to the exterior. And then from there, once the body's healthy, you want to start reflecting on your life. your earthly desires, and how to follow those.
Okay, so I want to stop here for a second because what I'm thinking now, because what just jumped into my mind is there are more medications now than I've ever seen in my life. Again, I watch YouTube on my smart TV, and I can't tell you how many new diseases come up. And they've come up with more mental and physical diseases that I've ever heard of in my life. And you hear all the negative side effects, like things like, and in some cases death has occurred. Like, oh yeah, this is going to fix me. It might kill me, but and I'm thinking, wow, that sounds like such a great medicine. How healing is that? But what it makes me realize is that the answer that we've been given is, oh, don't change your authentic self. Let's just do what we can to stuff the symptoms down. So let's push down your symptoms. That's the problem. It's that part of you that keeps telling you that something's wrong. That pain sensor in you that says, I'm not happy. We gotta just, just take this. It might kill you. You'll get hives. Other stuff will happen. But this one thing, there's a 30% chance we might get rid of that for a couple weeks. So just
Don't forget the anal leakage.
anal leakage. Right. In some cases, death has happened. And this is my favorite. Don't take this medication if you're allergic to it. Like, well, how the hell am I supposed to know if I'm allergic to it? Well, that's why you shouldn't take it. Yeah, but I don't. How do? Well, there you go. He took it. He didn't know, and he had this allergic reaction, and it killed him. Well, we told you not to take it if you were allergic to it.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
anyway, I'm enjoying that. But what I'm hearing from that is that it's still. I feel so vindicated because my
yeah,
instinct has been telling me that everything from the big C to heart disease to whatever is some emotional response
hmm,
to the trauma of not living your authentic self.
yep,
And it just manifests in the body in some way. And you're saying, yes, not only that, but it starts out as this entity that comes in and starts to feed off of you. It's a demon that's attacking you.
yeah,
And people want to go poo-poo it. Nah, your desires, big deal. Go get a job. Go get your 401k. Get a car. Get a mortgage. What the hell's wrong with you?
yeah. I
Okay.
love to tell my patients the physical body, it's the dashboard in your car. And every part of the body and every symptom it can have is a light. It's an indicator light. And the indicator lights are telling you where the emotions, where the mentality is off and what to address.
And again, I come back to these five element practices. We don't know. You could go in not knowing what exactly the problem is. You've got some issues, but if we do these five elements in order, at some point, you're going to hit that point, whatever it is, that is going to then address the problem.
Yeah.
And you don't have to know. Just
Yeah, you don't have to waste time on diagnostics. It's like just do the damn practice.
just do the sets in order and just keep going. And eventually, it'll dial itself around to the one that needs the most attention. And then once you do that, then the other elements kick in and balance it out. And okay,
Pretty amazing.
yeah.
Um, yeah, so another thing at this second stage, letting go and embracing change is a huge deal here.
Hmm. Hmm. I'm
Like that
listening.
that's enough to eliminate. Because we've had this introject, we've been told, you who you are, what you want is not good enough for this world, this family, whatever. So then you start to say, okay, and you start going off course. And you may have missed some opportunities in life, but if you can let go of that and embrace the change, you'll be better off here's the interesting thing. Going through this possession thing and resolving it, you're actually better off, I think, in a way, than if you just followed your genuine path at age 18. Because you've got all this wisdom about what it's like to get off track and then back on it. It's like, I have like friends that went to SEAL training. It's like everybody in Navy SEAL training has to drown.
Wow.
So you know what it's like when you're running out of air, or like your CO2 signaling is not kicking in. It's like a quick thing and they get revived. But so it's like this makes me think, when you get off track in life and you go down these blind alleys, it's like correcting that situation makes you wiser.
Yep.
Because there are people who, they're born and the family's totally happy and they meet their soulmate when they're 17 and you inherit the family business you never want for anything. And it's like, I think, it's a life where you're catching your breath and you get to have a break on the bench.
Yeah.
But you don't learn a whole lot.
Yep. Yeah, I would agree. That's one of those lives where the soul said, this time, man, I'm just going to coast. I lived through the bubonic plague last time. This time, it's 90210 for me, and then we'll get back to whatever soul lessons.
Yeah, and you may be a really good-natured person, and in your community, you may employ hundreds of people and help them have nice material lives. You can be like a totally cool person, but no hard lessons.
Yeah, this spirit fighting practice, I got into it because I desperately needed it, personally, emotionally, psychologically. And my teacher said, and I think he was quoting his teacher, he said, if you've been drawn to this practice, he says, there's something wrong with you. And, at first I kind of laughed and he's like, I'm not kidding. There's
Right.
broken in you that needs to be fixed. And, as I'm continuing with this path that's gone so far off whatever mainstream is, it's gone so far into that. And, the realization how far removed I am from normal life. And I think about the people that aren't struggling in this really crazy time. The frog in the boiling water that doesn't realize he's boiling to death. And I, but the people who are coming are the people that are, they're limping in and, bruised and battered and they're bonkers and all that, and they're doing it and they do the practice and and so, yeah, if you're out there and you're struggling and you're in pain, good. Now you don't have to, there's a lot of people that are going to have to really go through some garbage before they're willing to wake up. So,
Yeah.
good,
Yeah.
good for you. You've gone through the garbage. Now you can walk away. And the other thing is when you've gone through that, and you get some balance and you get some healing, not only are you at a higher level of awareness than you would have been, but you're so grateful for what you've got that other people just take for granted because they don't know any different.
Hmm. Absolutely.
That's
Yeah. It's like
wonderful.
the difference between building a business and inheriting one.
Right.
Yeah. Um, yeah. As I was prepping for this, your teacher's words were just echoing, in my consciousness. You don't find these practices unless you're broken. So anybody who's doing these practices and following your teachings and your channel, they're at least stage two.
Yeah.
There are probably some stage threeers that have some found it. Maybe even fours, but that'd be a little tough. So let's get to stage three.
All right.
Um, Stage three, this is very earth element, because now this ghost, this demon really starts getting access to our resources, our energetic resources, our physical bodily resources. Um, one of the buzz phrases with this is they talk about, the wind is trapped within the domain of earth. So wind is a big deal in Chinese medicine because they always talk about, you get wind on the nape of the neck here, and your pores spasm shut, and then your body loses the ability to push pathogens out. And in every tradition, it's sort of these ghosts, these demons, they're described as like spirits of the wind.
Hmm.
Um, so, in a lot of these points, the points involved in these treatments, they're on the back of the neck, which is like deals with, fighting off attacks of wind. They're on the mouth too, and the wind comes in and out.
Hmm.
So it's pretty interesting. Um, so yeah, so at this third stage, this is where self-destructive behavior is really going to start setting in.
Okay, let's stop there for a second. Stage one, something comes at you,
Yes.
designed to shame you out of your authentic self.
Mhm.
Stage two, you accept that voice in and allow it to start talking to you.
Yeah. You
Stage,
know it's not you yet, but you're listening.
yeah, you're in a state of cognitive dissonance and you're losing the battle.
You're hanging out with the ghost.
And stage three, you're starting to act on what is being told to you.
Yes, at this point you can't tell a difference anymore.
So you're going out and doing self-destructive things and you think
Yeah.
you're doing the right thing.
This is where you're possessed.
And this is what, again, I've been saying that the only thing that matters is action. Doesn't matter how you feel. What matters
Yeah.
is what you do. And
Yeah.
at this stage, the person thinks what's most important is to alleviate their negative feeling by acting. And they're at this point, they're crazy enough to act in direct conflict of their own authentic self-existence.
Absolutely.
Okay.
There's a dissociation component at this level. Like people like the command of the memory is not full. There can be gaps. Um, I think this can be as simple as like, if people mellow with age. So let's say you have like an abusive family member, and they start as they get older, they start reflecting, and and they're recognizing their behaviors.
Sorry, I'm going
But
to put
then,
the wind on my neck as you're talking.
yeah, damn HVAC, yeah. Um, so yeah, so they'll the people will start mellowing with abusive people will start mellowing with age, mellowing with age. They'll get reflective, but they won't quite own their actions, and they'll say, "Hey, do you remember when so and so used to do this really awful abusive thing? That really sucked." And you go, "No, you did that. That was you." Like my parents do that to each other all the time.
I'm laughing because I can remember. I think my brother did that. He talked about some third person out there that was so horrible. I was in a play when I was an actor back in my 20s, and I played a bad guy, and I based it off my brother.
Wow.
And he was really off, and people hated my character so much. Like people would come and say, "I wanted to beat the crap out of your character." My brother came and saw it, and he was, "Wow, you totally remind me of Johnny Rampino." Just, I didn't have the heart to say, "No, that was you. I was playing you."
That's fascinating about actors, how they draw upon those personal experiences. Like I have a friend he's a couple of years older than you, and he made a go at it, and he ended up working more on like like the crew, like the production crew side. But in the beginning, they did this like little indie movie in that that John C. McGinley. He was in that movie Platoon. He was like the slimy like Sergeant O'Neill.
Okay.
He was in that show Scrubs where he's like the 40-year-old doctor who's like
Okay. All right.
busting the interns' balls
Good.
all the time.
All right. I know who that is now. Yeah.
So my friend was saying he worked with him, and that guy uses his brother like in most of his parts because he plays this like real edgy dickhead in a lot of like shows and movies. So yeah, so yeah, that's fascinating how they do that, how actors do that.
Yeah, it's, yeah, it gives you, yeah. I'm glad that I was an actor for so long because I had to learn. It helped me to, it's very shamanic because it helped me learn why I do what I do. Because you first have to learn why other people do what they do, and then you internalize it. And so it gives you an ability to analyze yourself on a deep level. So I think it's a
Yeah,
good shamanic tool.
absolutely. But yeah, so the stage three, this is where possession is really starting to take root. You can still resist, but it's going to be a lot more difficult. Um, so yeah, it's really getting into the earthiness of your body and starting to control it. Um, so some signs here. This is where autoimmune diseases can really set in.
Hmm.
I was in a relationship with a woman, years ago who she was like 27. She came down with rheumatoid arthritis, but she was like very fit, very healthy, but there was some trauma. Um, incidentally, I using, moxibustion where they roll those cigars and it's like a dried out fern. They roll it in the cigars and it's smoky and you burn it near acupuncture points. That was originally developed for exorcisms by one of the ancient Chinese physicians. And I
Wow.
did an accidental one on her, and I think it jumped into her brother.
Whoa.
We can talk about that sometime, but
So you're saying that she actually had like a full-on demon?
yeah, because I was burning it in a point at the top of her calf on the inside, which deals with dampness on the spleen channel. And I'm burning this thing, and there's an acupuncture needle, and like she blurts out all of a sudden, she goes, "It just left." And I
Wow.
said, "What just left?" And she goes, "I don't even know why I said that, but I felt this jet of air like shooting out of my leg, right where you're burning that." And then later that night, like her brother was acting like totally crazy.
Wow. Well, that brings up so many other questions we don't have time to get into, but that's very
We can
interesting.
we can talk about that incident some other time.
Yeah.
So
Because
yeah,
I
so
do,
auto,
I want to go down that path, but that's a whole other video probably.
yeah, I'll make a note. Um, so yeah,
Okay,
autoimmune disease
so
is
we're at stage three.
stage three.
You just mentioned rheumatoid arthritis.
Yeah, or you're starting to get into like anything autoimmune, so like celiac disease, lupus. Um, what are some other ones? I
What is
think
that
like
skin disease people talk about all the time?
psoriasis.
Psoriasis, would that be one?
Yeah, that's a skin disease.
Would
Eczema.
that
Oh,
be
eczema is a bigger one.
eczema? Would that be an autoimmune thing?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And it's very digestively involved. There's like some leaky gut going on where it's like protein is getting through the stomach lining and into the bloodstream.
That's another one that I've seen medications advertised, and there's these young women, and basically they're saying, you have eczema, and take this. I mean, death might occur and other strange things, and you'll grow a second head and all that, but your skin might look really good.
Yeah, we hope. And
So,
that one usually manifests on digestive channels, earth channels.
okay. Okay, just as an example. All right. So stage three, we're talking about the ability of the body to defend itself is either incapacitated or overreacting.
Yeah, basically the body's fighting with itself. So the immune system is turning inward and it's fighting the tissues.
And inside the tissues is this demon that's telling you you're no good, you're a piece of garbage, start doing the stupid crap, start acting against yourself. And so the immune system's like, don't do that to yourself.
Yeah, yeah, the demon is like, it's 2 p.m. and we need shots right now. And the immune system's like, no, no.
Okay.
Yeah. Now the body's yin is getting very worn down at this point. You're going to see like excessive sweating, excessive urination. Like you're just like the yin is like flying out the door, and like you're really getting chowed down on at this point. Like like your groceries hardly get through the door before this thing eats them.
They're just like cracking open and getting to the marrow of you.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, you're going to see twitches at this point because when the yin's worn down, it's like wind is blowing through the body and making things shake. People's eyes get foggy. You know, there's almost like a film over the eyes and you can't see in there. It's because like the ghost, the demon is just so damn shallow and it doesn't have all that content that's usually in someone's eyes. And you see that as a device in films where somebody's very disturbed or possessed or both, and the eyes are sort of
Yeah,
it's almost like
they'll make the
cataracts.
eyes go white, and that's how you know
Yeah.
zombie. Got it.
Yeah.
By the way,
Um,
I watched a guy become I watched a guy become possessed, and
yeah.
I was doing an exorcism on him, and I watched his face completely change. His skin turned to absolute white, not like pale, but like completely white, and his eyes changed into completely red, not bloodshot, but just the eyeball was 100% bright red. It
Wow.
was looking straight at me.
Whoa.
So,
That's disturbing.
yeah. So interesting. Okay. So the eyes start to go at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, I think those are the real highlights here. Oh, well, one more thing about stage three. So we're using earth points to remedy this, and then we're using the Lao Gong. We're using the fire point on a fire channel. Because again, the earthly desires, your
Pat,
desires can save you still at this level.
interesting.
Really cool. And this is like upping the ante from the last stage where we were using the earth point.
So you do the earth point, like, hey, let's get grounded, take a look at this. And then when you get completely nuts, then you just got to bring in the fire to just to
Yeah. Torch it. It's like call the
torch,
napalm.
torch the demon.
Yeah.
Because you're not capable now of having critical thinking, which would be the earth, to be able to figure out, hey, you know what, this isn't making any sense what I'm doing. You're gone.
Yeah.
So you need
Yeah.
to just nuke the thing.
Totally.
Okay.
Totally. Yeah, and then for sake of time, let's get into stage four here.
Okay.
So stage four is like schizophrenia. And at this point, people are like they're asthmatic, they're wheezy. It's like there's this whole thing about the kidneys grasping the chi. So like your function of your diaphragm pulling downward to use the vacuum action to expand your lungs. That's not really happening, you know. So it's like you're no longer like being inspired by breath. Um, so yeah, people are detached from reality at this point.
So
Um,
this somebody has shallow breathing,
yeah, very lethargic.
and are they going to have like a lot of gunk in their lungs?
That's very possible because when the yin in your body gets worn down, your body tries to fill the vacuum and it stores dampness. So dampness is like dirty, turbid fluids that the digestive organs are hanging on to. Like Earth is trying to hang on to something. Think about like with dampness, you think about like on a dirt road, it rained the day before, the road's dry, but then you have like a muddy puddle. And as the sun beats down on it, like the muddy water just gets like thicker and dirtier.
Okay. All right.
Um,
So stage four. So I just need to get up to speed here. Stage one, the initial attack, which is an attack on your connection to your authentic essence.
yeah,
Stage two, you start listening to you haven't bought into it yet, but you're starting to listen. and there's some cognitive dissonance. Stage three, the cognitive dissonance wins, and you start acting in ways probably that make your persecutors happy, but which end up working against you. And then stage four.
They're basically controlling the castle now.
So
So
you're
this,
a ghost within your own body.
yeah, and the battle's not necessarily lost, but basically you're basically if your body's a castle, you're in the dungeon.
You're unconscious. You're trapped in there, trapped in your
Yeah,
conscious mind.
absolutely.
So your
Um,
conscious mind is just, there's nobody home.
yeah. And if you take no action at this point, or taking action at this point looks like asking for help. If you don't take that action, it's probably going to kill you at this point. Um, yeah, so this is where they say the demon, the ghost is in your central channel.
Wow.
And it's in charge, it's gained control of your organs, your tissues, your nervous system. But you're in such a weakened condition that it's like, well, yeah, 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 nice win, jackass. It's like you just conquered a burned down house. But that's how short-sighted these entities are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, total Pyrrhic victory on its part. Um, yeah, so yeah, controls all aspects of
But
the
that's
life.
probably where all the good meat is too, at the center of your being. That's like the
Yeah,
marrow of your essence. So
yeah,
yeah, all the flesh is gone, but they're getting to the marrow. And once that's done, it reminds me of borderlines, people that have borderline personality disorder. And what they'll do is they will abuse you until they literally get to the point where you've lost any sense of self. And when that's gone, then they discard you forever. Whereas up until that point, they discard you, they hoover you back, they discard you, they'll throw you away just to get stronger hold, reel you back in, eat some more, throw you away, reel you back in. And then when they've gotten to the marrow of you and completely just devoured your essence, they throw you away forever.
yeah. And I've even known people who've committed suicide who are like in relationships with borderlines
Oh
because the
yeah, absolutely.
process is so complete.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm saying that because what you just said was right. Like you're saying to the demon, good for you. You just, conquered an empty, castle. But that demon is saying, no, no, I'm still feeding on the marrow of this person. Once I'm done, then I'll leave. And yeah, and that makes sense that people have been with borderlines, they off themselves because there's nothing left.
Yeah,
There's nothing of you left.
yeah,
And
yeah,
now you've become them. And you need you need their love so badly that without it you'll die.
yeah. I think a good pop culture sort of a reference here is like it's like in The Exorcist where the little girl like writes "help me" in her own skin
Mm, yeah.
because it's like the last thing she can do like is just ask for help. And there's a whole crazy thing at this stage where using different acupuncture points, what is it? There's like 12 points. You basically make a maze to trap the entity in. And once it's trapped in the maze, you use these other points to expel it. Like it's
Wow.
pretty elaborate.
Sounds like a real science there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Never done that, but it's
That's
in the
very,
quiver.
very interesting stuff.
Yeah.
The other thing, I don't know why it's popping to mind, but the other thing is, what I learned, again, everything I know and everything I teach is from practical experience. So if I say something, it's because I experienced it, not because of anything else. But one thing I learned from my experience is that demons are always emotional in nature, always. And their names are always emotions. As opposed to, if you watch some nonsensical thing where, you'll hear about, yeah, oh, these guys went and worked with the dark forces of the government, and they called this demon Beelzebub, the Lord of the third realm of the, and they people think that those beings exist, and they don't. That every demon that I've seen has been a human emotion: sadness, anger, fear, despair, rage, lust, greed. Those are demons. And because you can get them to tell you their name, and they'll tell, and the name is always one of those, always. So we're playing with definitions here, and you can pick one. Yes, these are external living self-created demons that are outside of you and have their own life, and at the same time they are the emotions that you allowed to deviate you from your true self, your true path. And again, the one of the ways to heal it, according to one thing at least that you said, is that the passion of desire the fire is enough to absolutely nuke it, to destroy it.
Yep. Yeah, we
And
get double fire because we live on planet fear.
yeah, 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 right. The water planet.
Yep.
And and again, fire is also action. And so again, I say, it's not what you feel, it's what you do. And eventually, if you act contrary to the negative feelings that are in stage three, telling you to do self-destructive things, which by the way, which means what I hear is the person will have an impulse that feels irresistible. They'll have intense feelings, and the feelings will be very uncomfortable, and their desire will be to get rid of those feelings at all cost. Hit themselves in the head. I was thinking about people with Tourette syndrome, and I didn't know this, but the Nexium cult leader guy. Now, I had thought that Tourette syndrome was incurable, was whatever, whatever, and this guy, this insane narcissist cult leader says, "Oh, I'm going to cure that," and he did. And basically, the guy who ended up getting cured of that came to the conscious realization that the impulses were real, but he could resist them if he wanted to. And that the reality was that when he really asked himself why he was doing it, it was that he wanted attention. And so that feedback created a scenario where his impulses to hit himself or whatever would become so strong that they felt like they were too strong to overcome, but that the honest truth was he could. And he ended up curing himself from it.
Wow.
So again, it comes down to and people ask me all the time, one of the first things people ask me is, how do I get over this feeling? How do I get over guilt? How do I get over fear? And I always say, when did I ever tell you were supposed to get over your feelings? Act consciously. Here's what you know you're supposed to do. You don't know? Talk to me. I can help you figure it out. Here are the actions you're supposed to take. Take those actions, even if it feels like it's going to kill you. And what you're saying is that the fire of action will eventually burn away this demon,
Hmm.
which is giving you false information about yourself, which is giving you impulses that you can't control, getting you to act contrary to to your health, to your best interest.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like you see in the course of addiction through these four stages, people get more lethargic and less active.
Yep.
Because ghosts are a very yin phenomenon. They're dragging you into like a very an excessively yin nature.
Yeah. Passive.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, I could go off on so many subjects right now. Anyway, all right. Well, we've gone over our time, unfortunately. We got a live guided meditation to do a little bit. What is your website again? People want to find you?
Oh yeah, lifespringhealing.com. It's going to change soon, but
Okay,
that's that now. And then just my name, Patrick Giguere on YouTube.
very good. All right. Anything else you want to say? Any last minute anythings?
Not yet. I'm just making some notes about the next conversation.
Very good.
Get
I'm
some
looking
leads.
forward to it. This has been awesome.
Oh, it's a lot of fun. Thank you.
All right. Well, we all appreciate you, sir, and until next time.
Yeah.